It actually is a nice little segue into a question that I think was from last week, but I really liked it. Love asked, what's the first thing you guys bought after your big check came in? I like the idea of,
I wish it was a mattress.
Yeah. Well, as record makers, I mean, people spend their money on lots of different things. And obviously not that this is a podcast or a live or a conversation about financial advice or anything. I think it's interesting what people choose to spend their money on. And I actually think the best thing, if people have extra money, the best thing to spend your money on is sleeping better. And the number one thing there is a great mattress. I like a firm mattress. I like a Tempur-Pedic. Once I spent real money on a mattress, it actually really helped my back problems. And, we talk about this all the time. What chairs should people get? How do you stay healthy? And the reality is just sitting all the time sucks. It hurts you. There's no good way around it. There are things you can do to mitigate it. But if you're sitting all the time, you're going to have back problems. You're going to have neck problems, depending on what your physiology is. And I think something like, there's a reason we spend a third of our life unconscious. It's because sleep is really, really important. And so figuring out how to, if you have a little bit extra money, spending it so that you're healthier and you can be better and more present and happier and better at your job and a better friend and all that kind of stuff, I think is really important. That being said, it's fun to spend money on stuff. I was just gonna, do you want to answer that at all?
I mean, I'll answer it in two ways, because my most recent big check bought me the mattress, and not to mattress flex. I'm not going to say how much it costs, but it was basically the size of the check for the album that I did. So my last big check bought me the mattress, and that's probably 8 years since my quote unquote first big check.
Your first break.
To answer the question, which would be, I moved into the loft that you guys see me in with that check. That check bought me the attack wall, my VLCs, and a new computer. At that time, it was the first MacBook Pro that was just super smoking, with the flat screen on it, where it started to look sexy instead of some weird, whatever one. So the first check, boringly bought me all the gear I needed to occupy this new space as a recording studio as well as a mix studio. Because at that point, I needed preamps and the links for inputs so I could run them as recording preamps as well as I use them today, which are hardware inserts for EQ and reamp purposes. But the first big check was a publishing deal and got me a bunch of gear to get me started, and then a few months rent to feel confident being in the space that I really couldn't afford, but fell in love with and needed to make happen.
I love that answer. I think when I first made more money than I needed to just pay rent and survive, in late 20s, and had my first couple of bigger things, the first thing I did is I started going to breakfast every morning. I was like, I'm going to spend an extra $25 a day to sit somewhere, have some pancakes and some eggs and some tea and read a little bit or listen to mixes or whatever, and not have to clean up and not do that. I spent it on making my life easier.
Great.
I don't buy a lot of expensive things that aren't useful to me. For the most part, I didn't get a fancier car for another 6 years or something like that until my Toyota Camry broke down. But spending money to make the workflow better, make the life a little bit easier, make things a little less stressful, sleep better, all that kind of stuff it's probably not the exciting answer that this person was. It's I fucking bought a car, baby. Woo, I bought a
got pancakes.
By the way,
carbs in the morning.
I love people who do that too. Go out and just buy a iced out Cuban Link, just going crazy. I love that shit.
Yeah.
But I prefer to just spend money on food and sleeping better. that's just my personality.
Already doing that.
And travel, I guess.
Just because that's what I've always cared about since I even made my first check, whatever that was. It could have been $300, and I was at Alcove in Los Feliz buying a more expensive omelet than I could make at home. So I actually, that's probably my first answer too. I love your answer. I would add one more thing that maybe you could tag onto as well, which is, for a long time, up until the last couple of years, where it has now probably solidified in this bed purchase, I've pretty much got everything that I think I need in my space. The wants are maybe more wine and champagne purchases every now and then, but maybe I should also hold off on those too. I've been investing in my career or reinvesting in my career up until very recently. I don't do that as often as much because I don't need to, because I have all the things that I use on a daily basis. I think that's been my prerequisite. We've talked about it a lot. When it comes to analog gear, it's everything that I use on a daily basis.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.